All right, Steelers Nation, listen up because there's a lot to unpack here. The noise around the Pittsburgh Steelers right now isn't just chatter. It's frustration, reflection, and maybe, just maybe, the start of something that finally changes this team's direction. You can feel it in the air. The tension, the urgency, the sense that we're standing at that crossroads again. The one where this franchise has to decide whether it's going to keep doing what's comfortable or finally admit that the formula isn't working. And for once, it sounds like Mike Tomlin might actually be ready to look that reality square in the face. When Tomlin stepped up to the podium this week, there was none of that usual coach speak he's so good at. No deflection, no sugarcoating, no hiding behind vague answers. He owned it. He said flat out that before anything can be fixed, it has to be acknowledged. That's the first step. You can't fix what you won't admit is broken. And for a coach who's been leading this team for nearly 2 decades, that's a big deal. He talked about getting back to work, about doing things the right way, about waiting for their opportunity to make it right. But it wasn't the words themselves that mattered. It was the tone. The man sounded like someone who knows that excuses have run out. And when asked point blank whether he was thinking about firing defensive coordinator Terrell Austin or taking over play-calling duties himself, Tomlin didn't blink. He just said, "No, that's not on the table right now. We just have to do what we do, but do it better." Now, if you've been following this coach long enough, you know that's not a question he takes lightly. Usually, he'd shut that kind of talk down fast. But not this time. There was a different edge to him. Like even though he wasn't making changes that second, he knew something was going to give. And let's be real, something has to give. Because this defense, this so-called proud and tough Steelers defense, has been anything but that lately. The team that was once feared for its physicality, for its heart, for its fight, looks lost. Tomlin himself even endorsed Cam Hayward's comments about the lack of fight and inability to handle adversity. That's not small talk. That's one of the most respected leaders in that locker room, calling it like it is. And Tomlin, instead of brushing it off, agreed. That says everything. Now, the Steelers aren't just facing any team next. They're up against the #1 team in the league, the Colts, sitting at 7-1. Best record in football. Not just #1 in offense or defense, just plain #1. So yeah, if not now, then when? When do you draw the line and say enough is enough? When do you stop waiting for something to click and start making it click yourself? Because this team started 4-1, and now they're sitting at 4-4, staring at the wrong side of the standings while the Bengals, of all teams, creep up right behind them with a negative 79-point differential. That's a reality check if I've ever seen one. And while fans were bracing for the next round of disappointment, the front office at least showed a pulse. Omar Khan made a move, trading with the Patriots to bring in Kyle Duggar, a safety who plays the run with authority. He's that Deshaun Elliott type, a guy who doesn't dance around, he just tackles. That's something this team has been missing. No, Duggar's not guaranteed to start right away, and he might not be a superstar addition, but sometimes a new face, a fresh voice, a different energy is exactly what a locker room needs, especially one that's been sleepwalking through games. Tomlin also didn't hold back when asked about some of the individuals on his defense. He admitted to substituting Brandon Echols for Darius Slay late in the last game, saying Echols had earned his chance. He didn't even hesitate to suggest that Slay had left a few plays on the field. That's not something Tomlin usually says publicly. He even showed frustration about the team's lack of takeaways since the Dublin game. Another sign that he's done pretending things are fine. Because they're not. You can feel the frustration bubbling under everything he said. It's not just about losing games. It's about how they're losing. The Steelers have always been a team that prides itself on resilience, on finding ways to win ugly. But lately, it's not even ugly. It's just lifeless. And maybe, just maybe, that's what needed to happen. Maybe they needed to hit rock bottom, to get exposed, to be forced into facing the fact that whatever they've been doing isn't good enough anymore. It's crazy to think that a few weeks ago, this team was 4-1. Fans were cautiously optimistic, and the talk around town was that maybe, just maybe, this was the year the offense would take a step forward. But then, reality hit hard. Missed tackles, dropped interceptions, no energy, no rhythm. It's like every flaw that had been hiding just burst into the open. And now, As they get ready to face the league's best team, they're out of places to hide. That's what makes this moment feel different. Because usually, Tomlin will stand there and defend his guys to the last breath. But this week, he looked like a coach who knows the mirror doesn't lie. He talked about getting back to work, about the real fixes happening on the field, not in press conferences. And as simple as that sounds, he's right. The only way to fix football problems is by playing better football. You can talk about accountability and attitude all you want, but the fix doesn't happen in front of microphones. It happens on Sundays. So, what can we expect moving forward? Different players, different looks, maybe even a different tone from the sideline. You might not see instant success, but you're going to see something different. And honestly, that's all fans are asking for at this point. A sign that the team isn't content with mediocrity. Because the worst thing the Steelers could do right now is pretend this is fine. It's not. This fan base has seen enough of these mid-season meltdowns to know the pattern by heart. A strong start, a slow unraveling, and then a bunch of will-fix-it pressers that lead nowhere. But if Tomlin truly means what he said this time, if the players take his words to heart, if the defense finally finds its edge again, then maybe, just maybe, this is the week things start turning around. Let's dig a little deeper into where this team actually stands and why. Despite all the frustration, there's still some reason to believe the Steelers can find their way back. The conversation can't just be about coaching or about one bad defensive outing. It has to include the bigger picture, how this roster has been built, how the younger players are developing, and what kind of identity this team is trying to rediscover. Because right now, the Steelers don't look like a team that knows who they are. They look like a team caught somewhere between rebuilding and pretending to be a contender. And that's one of the most dangerous spots you can be in as a franchise. One question that keeps coming up among fans is whether the recent draft classes are part of the problem. People keep asking if this team just hasn't drafted well enough to keep up with the rest of the league. And you can't really blame them for wondering. The last decade has been a mixed bag, to put it kindly. There have been some hits, but also plenty of early round swings and misses that still sting. But when you look at the drafts under General Manager Omar Khan, and it's only fair to judge him on his own work, not his predecessors, things aren't as bleak as they seem. Take Broderick Jones, for example, a first-round pick who hasn't exactly set the world on fire yet, but still has upside. The guy was raw coming out of college, and while the learning curve has been rough, he's got the tools. Then you look at Joey Porter Jr., who technically went 32nd overall, practically a first-rounder himself, and he's shown flashes. He's still finding his footing, but when he's good, he's really good. Keanu Benton started strong, and then hit that predictable rookie wall. Darnell Washington, though, has been solid value in the third round, and Nick Herbig looks like one of those late-round steals who just gets it. The following draft class actually looks even better. Troy Fatana missed some time, sure, but he's proving he belongs. Zach Frazier has been nothing short of impressive, a second-round pick who might end up being the best player from that entire class. Roman Wilson is finally getting involved in the offense. And Peyton Wilson just had arguably the best defensive performance of anyone in the loss to Green Bay. When your mid-round picks are producing like that, that's a sign of progress, not regression. But of course, none of that matters if the development stalls. You can draft all the potential in the world, but if your coaching staff can't bring it out, it doesn't count for much. That's where some fans start losing patience with this regime. They see the same patterns, talented players who flash early and then plateau. It's fair to wonder if that's about player motivation or if it's about the environment they're in. Because even when the talent level looks fine on paper, the on-field execution often tells another story. What's clear is that this team has been surviving more on reputation than on results. The Steelers' brand, physicality, toughness, discipline, still means something, but it's been years since they've consistently lived up to it. Opponents don't fear this defense anymore. They respect the logo, they respect the history, but when they line up, they're not intimidated. That's a hard truth for any Steelers fan to accept. And that's exactly why these next few weeks will define what this team becomes. Facing the Colts, the Chargers, and then diving back into divisional play means the window for excuses is gone. You either show growth or you get exposed. That's why Tomlin's message about fixes happening in stadiums hit differently. He's right. You can't fix tackling in a meeting room. You can't rebuild chemistry through film study alone. You fix football by playing football, by responding when things go wrong, by hitting harder, by executing cleaner. That's what has to happen now. It's also worth pointing out that this team has a few quiet positives that tend to get overlooked. The offensive line, though inconsistent, is slowly starting to gel. Mason McCormick stepping up at right guard has helped stabilize things more than people realize. Jaylen Warren continues to prove that effort and determination can make up for draft status. He runs like every carry might be his last, and that energy is something the rest of the roster needs to feed off. The defense, as frustrating as it's been, still has pieces capable of turning games around. Cam Hayward's leadership is unquestioned, and Minkah Fitzpatrick, when healthy, is still one of the smartest players on the field. But leadership only matters if the rest of the locker room responds to it. Maybe that's where the biggest challenge lies, getting everyone to buy back in. You can't fake urgency. You can't pretend to be hungry. Either the players decide they've had enough of mediocrity, or this season slips away, just like so many others before it. And it's not about making a playoff push or chasing wildcard dreams. It's about reestablishing a standard. Because the Steelers' identity used to be about consistency, no matter who was injured, no matter who they were facing. That's what made the franchise special. The idea that no matter the situation, they would show up and compete like it was the Super Bowl. That's the energy that's been missing. When fans ask why they should still believe in this team, the answer isn't in the record. It's not even in the stats. It's in whether the people leading this team, from the front office to the field, can admit that what used to work no longer does. Change doesn't happen by accident. It happens when pride gives way to accountability. That's what this entire stretch is about. Tomlin might not be changing coordinators mid-season, but his willingness to publicly acknowledge issues is already a small step towards shaking things up. This franchise has seen low points before, but every great era in Steelers history started from one thing: hitting rock bottom and refusing to stay there. The Steel Curtain didn't become legendary overnight. The Ben Roethlisberger years weren't built on comfort. They were built on frustration, competition, and hard decisions. That's where this team stands right now, staring down the same kind of moment. If they can find that fire again, if they can turn that embarrassment into motivation, then maybe this season won't be remembered for another collapse. Maybe it'll be remembered as the turning point where the Steelers finally stopped talking about fixing things and actually did it. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a stunning twist that has sent shockwaves through the NFL rumor mill, whispers have turned into what insiders are calling a done deal. Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys' longtime quarterback, has reportedly ended all ongoing contract discussions with his current team and is set to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sources close to the situation suggest that the move, still unofficial but widely anticipated, could redefine the landscape of the league in the upcoming season. The news comes after weeks of speculation surrounding Prescott's future in Dallas. Fans and analysts alike had been dissecting every press conference, social media post, and front office maneuver, trying to predict whether the star QB would stay loyal to the Cowboys or explore options elsewhere. According to our sources, talks between Prescott and the Cowboys management hit an impasse over financial and structural terms, leading the quarterback to seek greener pastures, or in this case, black and gold. Pittsburgh, known for its storied quarterback history, appears eager to embrace Prescott as its new franchise cornerstone. Rumor has it that the Steelers' front office has been quietly courting Prescott, presenting a package that promises not only a lucrative contract, but also significant influence over the team's offensive strategy. Insiders claim that Prescott, attracted by both the competitive roster and the chance to write a new chapter in Steelers lore, decided to make the leap without hesitation. The reaction among fans is expected to be explosive. Cowboys supporters are bracing for heartbreak, while Steelers faithful are reportedly in a frenzy, speculating how Prescott will mesh with the team's current offensive weapons. Meanwhile, sports analysts are already debating the wider implications. How will this shift affect NFC East rivalries? Can Prescott adjust to a new system in the AFC? And perhaps most importantly, could this signal a trend of top-tier quarterbacks taking bolder, unexpected moves during free agency? As the dust settles, one thing is clear. If the rumors are accurate, the NFL's quarterback carousel just got a lot more interesting. All eyes will now turn to Pittsburgh, as fans and pundits alike wait for the official announcement and brace for the start of a potentially seismic era under Dak Prescott's leadership. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.